Hello and welcome back to Timeless Wisdom. Do you ever find yourself feeling constantly drained or anxious at home? If so, you're about to discover 10 minimalist secrets that made a dramatic difference in my life and can do the same for you. Believe it or not, people all over are using these tips and noticing changes in just a few days. What's truly remarkable is that you don't need to spend a penny or overhaul your entire space. These strategies are straightforward and can work in any home, big or small. In fact, try just 3 of them, and you'll likely notice an immediate shift. Wait until you hear secret number 7. It completely transformed my mornings. If you're frustrated with clutter, wasting precious time searching for things, or never feeling fully relaxed in your own space, then this video could be the turning point. Let's dive in and begin your journey to a calmer, happier home. Tip 1. The 90-day rule. Have you ever stopped to think about how many objects in your home you haven't used in months or even years? This is one of the biggest problems we face today. We accumulate so many things that our house becomes suffocated. The 90-day rule is very simple and will solve this problem. If you haven't used an item in the last 90 days and you won't use it in the next 90 days, it's time to get rid of it. Sound radical? Maybe, but it works like magic. Start with a small drawer or shelf. Take each item and ask this honest question. Have I used this in the last 3 months? Will I use it in the next 3? If the answer is no to both questions, it's time to let it go. You can donate, sell, or, as a last resort, dispose of it correctly. Many people get attached to objects for emotional reasons or because of the famous, "one day I will need it." But the truth is that this day rarely comes. And while you store all these things, they take up not only physical space in your home, but mental space as well. Have you ever noticed how lighter you feel when you clean an area that was messy? This happens because each object we hold requires a small portion of our attention. By applying the 90-day rule, you regain that physical and mental space. A client of mine applied this rule in the kitchen and managed to empty 2 entire cabinets. She said that cooking has become a much more enjoyable activity because she can now find everything easily. Remember, you don't have to do everything at once. A small space a day makes a big difference. Tip 2. The one thing in. One thing out system. One of the reasons our homes become full of stuff is because we keep bringing in new items without getting rid of the old ones. It's like trying to fill a glass that is already overflowing. The one thing in, one thing out system solves this problem very effectively. The rule is simple. For every new item you bring home, a similar item must go out. Did you buy a new shirt? An old one needs to go. Did you win a book? Donate another one you've already read. Did you bring a new kitchen utensil? Get rid of the one you use the least. At first, this may seem difficult or even unfair. After all, you worked hard to buy your stuff. But think about it. What's the point of having lots of items if they're just taking up space and creating clutter? I'm not suggesting you get rid of everything you love. The goal is to create a conscious flow of objects in your home. This forces us to think twice before making a new purchase. Do you really need that item? Will it add value to your life? Is it worth getting rid of something you already have to make room for it? A woman who followed this tip said that before, her drawers were so full that they barely closed. After 3 months of using the one thing in, one thing out system, she was able to open and close the drawers with ease and find exactly what she needed in seconds. The most interesting thing is that she realized she was making more conscious purchases. Instead of buying on impulse, she began evaluating whether each new purchase would actually be worth the space in her home. Try it for a month and watch how your relationship with consumption changes completely. Tip 3. The 5-minute technique. Oftentimes, clutter accumulates because we think organizing is a big and tiring task. We need time and energy, things we normally don't have in our daily lives. This is why the 5-minute technique is so powerful. The concept is extremely simple. Spend just 5 minutes a day to organize a small space. It could be a drawer, a shelf, the nightstand, or even the kitchen sink. 5 minutes goes by quickly, and anyone can find that time, even on the busiest day. The secret is consistency. 5 minutes a day means 35 minutes a week, more than 2 hours a month. In a year, more than 30 hours are dedicated to organizing your home. All this without feeling like you're making a big effort. The amazing thing about the 5-minute technique is that often, when we start, we end up getting excited and continuing for longer. But even if it's just 5 minutes, they make a difference. A young woman who works full-time and has 2 young children told me that she could never keep her house organized. After implementing the 5-minute technique, she began to see significant changes. Within 3 weeks, her home was much more organized, and most importantly, she was able to maintain that organization. The trick is to choose a small area and focus only on it for the 5 minutes. Don't try to do everything at once. Remember, the goal isn't to have a perfect home in one day, but to create sustainable habits that will lead to a more organized home over time. Hey guys, before continuing with the next tip, I wanted to ask a little favor. If you're enjoying this content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to receive notifications of new videos like this. And tell me in the comments where you are watching from. Your participation is super important to me. Now let's continue with more minimalist secrets that will transform your home. Tip 4. Define purpose zones. One of the biggest causes of disorganization in our homes is not having a specific place for everything. We end up placing objects everywhere and then wasting precious time looking for them. This is where the concept of defined purpose zones comes in. It's about clearly defining the function of each space in your home and only keeping objects related to that function in it. For example, the dining room table should only be used for meals, not as storage for mail, books, or other random items. Your nightstand should only contain what you need at night, like a book, a glass of water, and maybe a clock. The kitchen countertop should be reserved for food preparation. When we start to purposefully define zones, we are surprised by how many areas of our home are being underutilized. Often, a space that should be used for relaxation is full of papers, bills, and other distractions. To implement purposeful zones, start by looking at how you actually use each space in your home. Then decide what the ideal function of that space should be. Remove everything that is not related to this function and find a more appropriate place for these items. One family that applied this concept reported an incredible change in the dynamics of the home. Before, children did homework at the dining table, which was always full of books and papers. They created a small study space in the corner of the room with a small table and organized school materials. The dining table was once again used only for meals, and family meals became more pleasant moments without distractions. Remember that each object must have a specific home in your home, and when you're done using something, always return it to its place. This simple rule, combined with purpose-defined zones, will drastically reduce clutter in your home. Tip 5. The magic of empty space. We are conditioned to think that every space in our home needs to be filled. Shelves, cabinets, walls, tables, everything must have something on or inside it, right? Wrong. This tip goes against that thought. Learn to value and maintain empty spaces. Empty space is not a waste. It is a necessity for the well-being and visual health of an environment. Think of an art museum. The works are not piled up on the walls. Each piece has its own space, allowing it to be appreciated individually. The same principle applies to your home. When every surface is occupied, our eyes have nowhere to rest, and our mind is constantly processing visual information. This creates a feeling of discomfort and stress, even if we don't consciously realize it. To start applying the magic of empty space, choose a surface in your home. It could be the living room sideboard, the coffee table, or even a shelf. And remove the majority of items, leaving just one or two significant objects. Notice how this space breathes better and how your attention is naturally directed to the few items that remain there. One person who followed this tip reported a striking difference in how they felt when they walked home after a tiring day at work. Before, with every surface occupied, she felt like the house was screaming at her. After creating intentional empty spaces, she described the feeling of entering the home as a sigh of relief. Remember, empty space is not just the absence of things, it is the presence of possibilities, of breathing, of calm. Don't be afraid to leave some areas of your home free of objects. Your mind will thank you. Tip 6. The transition box method. We often hesitate to get rid of things because we are afraid of regretting it later. What if I need this item in the future? What if it becomes useful again? This fear paralyzes us and keeps our house full of things we rarely use. That's where the transition box method comes in, a technique that serves as a kind of purgatory for your belongings. It works like this. Take a large box and place all the items in it that you think you no longer need, but that you have questions about. Close the box, label it with the date, and store it in an out-of-the-way place, like the back of a closet or in the basement. Set a deadline, usually 3 to 6 months. During this time, if you need something that is in the box, you can claim it. When the deadline is up, if you haven't opened the box to look for anything, it's a strong indication that you don't really need those items. You can then donate or discard the box without even opening it again. The power of this method is how it alleviates the anxiety of immediate and definitive decision. You're not getting rid of the items all at once, but rather giving yourself a trial period to confirm that you really don't need them. A man who applied this method was surprised to realize that after 6 months, he had not opened any of the 3 transition boxes he had prepared. Items that he swore he would need, specific tools, reference books, electronic equipment, were not missing at all in his daily life. He donated almost everything and told me that the relief he felt was immense, as if a weight had been lifted from his shoulders. Try the transition box method with items you have questions about. It's a gentle and gradual way of getting rid of what no longer serves you, without the stress of definitive and immediate decisions. Tip 7. The 15 minutes before bedtime routine. Have you ever noticed how different it is waking up to an organized house compared to a messy house? The energy is completely different. This is why the 15 minutes before bed routine is so powerful. This tip is very simple, but it makes a huge difference in your daily life. Every night, 15 minutes before going to bed, do a quick tidy of the house. It's not about doing a complete cleaning, but about preparing the environment for the next day. Put the sofa cushions in place. Take cups and plates to the kitchen. Put away books and magazines. Fold blankets. Clean the kitchen counter, and make sure the tables are free of random objects. These 15 minutes are an investment in your well-being for the next day. Imagine waking up and finding a house in order, without the mess from the night before. This creates a positive tone for your day and eliminates that feeling of already starting late, having to deal with the mess before you've even had breakfast. A teacher who implemented this routine told me that her mornings were completely transformed. Before, she would wake up already stressed about the mess she would have to deal with. This made her leave the house late and already tired. After adopting the 15-minute routine before bed, she began to have calmer and more productive mornings. She said this little habit changed not only her home, but her state of mind as she started her day. If 15 minutes seems like a lot at first, start with 5 or 10 minutes. The important thing is to create the habit. Over time, you will become increasingly efficient at nighttime tidying and will be able to get more done in less time. Remember, you don't have to make everything perfect. The objective is just to prepare the house to welcome you the next morning in a welcoming and organized way. Tip 8. The stranger. Look technique. Sometimes we get so used to our own mess that we don't even see it anymore. Unnecessary objects, clutter, and even dirt become part of the landscape, invisible to our eyes. This is why the stranger gaze technique is so valuable. The idea is simple. Look at your home as if it were the first time you were entering it. Imagine you are a visitor, someone who has never been there before. What would this stranger notice? What impression would your home make? This exercise can be surprisingly revealing. To do this effectively, try entering your home through the front door and slowly walking through each room. Observe the surfaces, the corners, the floor, the walls. Notice what catches your attention, what seems out of place, what makes a negative impression. Another way to apply this technique is to take photos of the environments and look at them later. Photographs have the power to highlight aspects that our eyes have already learned to ignore. One woman who used this technique was shocked to see in photos she took of her living room how many objects were piled up in the corners. Things she planned to put away later, but that had already been there for months. The most interesting thing about the stranger's gaze technique is how it helps us establish priorities. When we identify what a visitor would notice first, we know exactly where to begin our organization journey. These are usually the areas that most impact the overall feeling of order or disorder in our home. Try applying this technique once a month. Over time, you will develop a more critical and attentive look at your own home, which will help you maintain organization in a natural and continuous way. Before continuing with the next tip, I want to tell you about something special that I prepared for those who want to go beyond this video. It's a complete guide with organization secrets that completely transform my home and can transform yours too. The link is in the pinned comment, and for a limited time, I'm offering a special discount for channel subscribers. Now, let's continue with the next tips, which are some of my favorites. Tip 9. The rule of free surfaces. Let's talk about one of the most transformative rules of minimalism, keeping surfaces free. Tables, benches, sideboards, nightstands, and other horizontal surfaces in our home have a natural tendency to accumulate objects: mail, keys, coins, remote controls, books, glasses, excess decorations. These items add up until the surfaces are completely occupied. This not only creates a visual feeling of clutter, but also makes cleaning and proper use of these spaces difficult. The free surface rule proposes that you keep at least 50% of each horizontal surface completely free of objects. This means that if you have a coffee table, half of it should be empty. If you have a kitchen counter, reserve half the space with nothing on top. To implement this rule, start by taking inventory of all horizontal surfaces in your home. Then evaluate what really needs to be on each of them. Prioritize essential and daily use items and find alternative places to store the rest. Creating a habit of cleaning surfaces regularly is also essential. For example, every night before going to sleep or every morning before leaving the house, take a few minutes to put away objects that were left on tables and counters. A couple who applied the free surface rule in their home reported an impressive change in the atmosphere of their home. The wife said that before, it was difficult to even find space on the kitchen counter to prepare a simple meal. After implementing the rule, not only did the kitchen become more functional, but the entire house seemed larger, airier, and more welcoming. When you keep surfaces free, you're essentially creating spaces of possibility. A partially empty table can be used for various activities, meals, work, hobbies, without having to first remove a pile of objects. It's a way to make your home work for you, instead of the other way around. Tip 10. The power of the 10-item daily routine. Our last tip is one of the simplest, but also one of the most powerful for keeping your home organized in the long term. It's a daily routine of 10 items, a habit that can completely change the organizational dynamics of your home. The concept is extremely simple. Every day, find 10 items in your home that aren't in the right place and put them where they should be. It could be 10 items that need to be kept, 10 items that you no longer need and will donate, or a combination of both. The important thing is that there are exactly 10 items per day, no more, no less. Why 10? Because it's a small enough number that it doesn't feel like a chore, but significant enough to make a difference over time. In 1 month, you will have organized 300 items. In 1 year, there will be more than 3,600 objects that have returned to their rightful place or permanently left your home. The power of this routine is in its consistency. It's not about spending a whole day organizing and then letting the mess accumulate again. It's about creating a sustainable daily habit that keeps your house permanently in order. A mother of 3 told me that she implemented this routine with her entire family. Each member, including children, had to find and save or donate their 10 items daily. In just 2 weeks, the house was significantly more organized and, most importantly, it stayed that way. She reported that this process also taught children the value of organization and responsibility for their own belongings. To start, you can set a specific time of day for your 10-item routine, perhaps in the morning before you leave for work or in the evening before you get ready for bed. Over time, you will notice that you begin to notice items out of place naturally throughout the day, and the task becomes increasingly easier and automatic. We have reached the end of this journey through the 10 minimalist secrets that will transform your home forever. Now you have powerful tools to create a more organized, peaceful, and functional home. Remember, the 90-day rule helps you eliminate what is no longer useful. The system, one thing in, one thing out, maintains balance. The 5-minute technique makes organization a daily habit. Zones with a defined purpose give a clear function to each space. The magic of empty space brings visual calm. The transition box method facilitates difficult decisions. The 15-minute bedtime routine prepares your home for a new day. The stranger's gaze technique reveals what needs attention. The rule of free surfaces creates functional spaces. And the 10-item daily routine keeps everything in order continuously. At Timeless Wisdom, we believe that minimalism isn't about simply having less. It's about making room for what truly matters most. Clearing out physical clutter creates space in your mind and heart too. You'll notice you spend less time tidying up and more time enjoying life with the people you care about. So here's my challenge for you. Pick just 3 of these minimalist tips and try them out this week. Take it slow. Let the new habits settle in and notice the changes as they unfold. Then come back and share in the comments. Which tip worked best for you? Which one was the easiest to adopt? Can you already see your home starting to change? Remember, the journey to a simpler, more peaceful home doesn't happen overnight. Small, steady steps add up to big results. Your home and your life will be grateful for it.